This is a story from Australia. Way back in the first time when everything was new. On a mountain, there lived a group of Aboriginal people. It was a beautiful mountain, but now everyone was beginning to get worried. For you know what? It hadn't rained for many days, and all the wells on the mountainside were beginning to dry up, all but one well. The last time it had rained, all the water had run down the mountain into the sea, which was very far away. Now, all those people on the mountain used water from that one well. People were sure to use just enough. They all believed in sharing with each other. Now, on the other side of the mountain, there lived two very greedy men, Weary and Walawit Now, one night, Weary and Walawit went to the other side of the mountain to look for water. And they saw that one well, which was the source of the water for the other side of the mountain. Weary and Walawit thought of something terrible, something that was so wicked. Weary and Walawit thought of stealing all that water so that they could have that water all for themselves. So they both built a huge vessel, a vessel called Ilamun. And one night, when everybody in the mountain was fast asleep, Weary and Walawit tiptoed to the well, and then they emptied out all the water into Ilamun, and then they began running from there down the mountain to the plains. As morning broke, people got up and went to the well to collect water. But oh my goodness, what did they see? There was no water in the well. People were shocked and they began to panic. Pretty soon, they started investigating. And they realized that two men from the mountain were missing. And who were they? Weary and Walawit. They put two and two together, and the spearmen, the warriors, said, "We are going to get them." They collected their spears and they began running down the mountain. Now, Weary and Walawit had walked and covered quite a distance, and they were very sure that nobody would wake up. So by now they had reached really far away. But the warriors were fast. They ran and they ran and they ran. And pretty soon, from a cliff that was jutting out, they spotted both the crooks running away with the Ilamun. One spearman took a spear and threw it, and that spear went and punctured Ilamun. Weary and Walawit did not even realize what had happened. They kept running and running and running. And pretty soon, the water started trickling out of Ilamun. And as Weary and Walawit kept walking, the water kept trickling and trickling and trickling and trickling. Pretty soon, they both felt that Ilamun was pretty light. That's when they turned around and they saw the warriors. And then they realized what had happened. The warriors picked up the two crooks and took them back to the mountain. And then a meeting was called. All the elders of the community got together, they lit a fire, and they all sat down. And then they called Wan Mutta, the clever one. And Wan Mutta brewed lots and lots of magic. Of course, those two had to be taught a lesson for stealing, which was absolutely unacceptable, a lesson for thinking only about themselves and not about the rest of the community. So Wan Mutta brewed some magic, and then he made Weary into an emu, the first ever emu. And because Weary was so ashamed, he ran straight down the mountain to the plains, and he was never seen again on the mountains. About Walla Witbit, he was turned into a blue-tongued lizard, the first one, and Walla Witbit hid under a stone, for he too was really ashamed of himself. But since that was the first time and magical things happened in the first time, you know what had happened? All the water that had trickled from Ilamun had created tiny billabongs or watering holes in the plains. And pretty soon, all the birds started coming to those watering holes. And finally, all the people in the mountain were happy, for there was enough water for everybody to live happily.